Tired of family misunderstandings, I chose to disappear. Will they regret losing me? I will never forget the day everything fell apart. It felt like the world exploded around me, shattering all those fragile connections. It was a Wednesday, the kind of day that faded into nothing without ceremony. I sat on the living room couch, my heart pounding, my palms clammy with sweat. Voices clashed. An argument grew louder. My dad's face turned crimson, his words spitting like venom. My mom's tears fell silently. I felt like an alien in my own world, trapped in a house of silence masked by shouting. I've tried to fix it. I wanted us to be whole. But every word seemed to deepen the wounds. The tension curled around us like smoke. I saw my sister's eyes, darting like frightened birds. We all wore masks, hiding our real feelings. When did we become strangers? I didn't recognize us anymore. Our family dinner table, once filled with laughter, now felt like a battlefield. Stares were daggers. I longed for connection, but every attempt was met with indifference or rage. Questions buzzed in my mind. What happened to love? That day, I snapped. The inescapable suffocation became unbearable. I gathered my things, a backpack, a few clothes, my journal. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, drowning out the chaos. I slipped out the door before anyone noticed, leaving behind shadows of broken promises and whispered regrets. Where would I go? It didn't matter. The world was so vast, and I was just a small part of it. Crowds beckoned, lights shimmered, freedom called my name. I walked faster, letting the pavement eat up the space between me and home. Without looking back, I stepped into the unknown. But doubt crept in. Would they even notice I was gone? Or would they shrug it off, lost in their own turmoil? Would they regret the moments we wasted? The silence between us felt deafening. A lump formed in my throat. I couldn't decide if I had made the right choice. Fear intertwined with hope, forming a strangely beautiful knot in my chest. Maybe absence would lead to understanding. Maybe they'd finally see. Then, just as I felt a glimmer of purpose, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I froze. My heart raced as I pulled it out. A message flashed on the screen. Where are you? We need to talk. What did they want? Did they even care? I stood still, breathless, the city moving around me like a blur. Questions swirled, pulling me back, pushing me forward. Would I ignore it? Would I ever return? Did I truly want this? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. I hesitated, the city pulsing around me as if it were alive, a rhythm I struggled to comprehend. My heart pounded in my ears as I stared at the screen, willing the words to change to mean something different than what they implied. Slowly, I tapped the screen again, but the message remained static, a cold reminder of the chaos I had left behind. I had hoped that a few hours away from the house would shake the cobwebs of confusion off my heart. Instead, I wore the weight of my family's unresolved feelings like a heavy cloak, a constant reminder that my absence might not lead to understanding but only deepen the chasm that had formed between us. Despite my turmoil, I kept moving, my feet guiding me toward a small cafe on the corner of a street I had never traveled. I stepped inside, surrendering to the warm embrace of rich coffee and the smell of baked goods. I ordered a cup, the warmth of the ceramic mug a momentary balm against the chill creeping into my bones. As I shifted my gaze around the dimly lit room, I noticed a young woman sitting alone at a table near the window, her pencil sketching furiously on a pad. There was an intensity in her movements that captivated me. She occasionally glanced up, and our eyes met. I felt an unexplainable connection that brewed hope within me, a glimmer that maybe not everyone was trapped in their own worlds of misunderstandings. After a moment, she nodded, and I took a seat at the table across from her without invitation. The exhausted lines on her face seemed to soften as she acknowledged me. "You look like you need a distraction," she said, a gentle smile breaking through that. I chuckled lightly, surprised at how the weight of my worries slightly lifted under her gaze. "Or maybe just a chance to disappear for a bit." Her laughter rang like a sweet melody, drawing me in. "Well, you've come to the right place. My sketchbook and I are experts in that." She offered me her pad, encouraging me to participate, and in that moment, the world didn't feel so heavy. I took the pencil she extended, and for the first time in a long while, I allowed my mind to drift, letting thoughts spill freely onto the pages, expressing turmoil in the guise of art. Amidst our shared silence, she broke it with a surprising query. "Have you ever considered that maybe disappearance isn't always about escaping?" I paused, entranced by her insight. "What do you mean?" "Sometimes," she continued, her tone compassionate yet firm, "we disappear to find pieces of ourselves that we've lost. You're not running away, you're seeking." Her words fell like soft rain on my heart, washing away layers of guilt. The clarity shone through like sunlight breaking the darkest clouds. Maybe my path wasn't so bleak after all. Maybe this journey was a vital part of rediscovering who I was beneath the heaviness of familial expectations. Still, an unshakable gnawing tugged within me, a feeling my family was not as far from my heart as I had managed to convince myself. Just then, a loud ping echoed from my phone, startling me back into reality. It was another message: "We're worried. Please just come home." The air in the cafe thickened, pressing against my chest. Could it be that they truly cared, that they were not as far gone as I feared? The reality of my choice to leave flickered ominously against the backdrop of her comforting presence. With newfound clarity, I was conflicted between the hope that they might be reaching out and the fear that confronting them would reopen wounds that had yet to heal. Before I could wrap my mind around the stranglehold of conflicting emotions, I glanced up at the artist. She watched me with empathy glimmering in her eyes, as if she held a mirror to my soul. It was unsettling yet captivating, but I needed certainty. I stood up abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor. I have to decide," I murmured, the gravity of my decision looming larger than I could grasp. That my heart raced as I raced toward the door, her voice trailing after me, "Run toward something, not away from it." I found myself caught in the limbo of realization. Teetering on the brink of two worlds. The sounds of the city drowned me once more, my thoughts swirling in chaos. Was I truly prepared to face the family I had left behind? Would they even welcome me back? Or had I hurt them beyond repair? A gust of wind hit me as I stepped outside. My phone buzzed again, this time from an unknown number. "We need to know if you're safe." My heart sank as I read the words, the weight of suspicion and love mixing uneasily. Now, more than ever, I felt the stirrings of doubt creeping back in. Who had sent the message? What if they had given up on me altogether? The unknown stretched before me, both frightening and compelling, and as I stood there, a chilling realization closed in. In trying to disappear, I may have opened a door to a confrontation that was yet to come. The cold wind rushed around me like a relentless wave, jostling me back into the shifting reality of city life. My heart throbbed with fear and uncertainty as I navigated the thrumming streets toward a home that felt more like a stranger than a refuge. With every step, recollections of laughter that once filled those walls echoed faintly in my mind, now overshadowed by unresolved grievances. Each ping from my phone pulled my focus, but I resisted the urge to check them. My mind was already swirling with the thought of that last message. "We need to know if you're safe," weighed heavily, like a brick strapped to my chest. It was an expression of love wrapped in concern, but it felt like a chain binding me to the very past I was trying to escape. I could sense their worry seeping through the screen, but what if their anxiety masked resentment instead? Just ahead, the cafe I had left behind loomed like a beacon in the night, its warm light spilling out into the cold. I hesitated, glancing back at the window where the artist had been sketching, her focus unwavering even as I had broken the moment. What would she say if she could see me now? That running away was futile. That facing my family was part of my rediscovery. But for every flicker of hope from her words, doubt wormed its way back into my heart that I found myself at an intersection, the cars rushing past. My feet felt rooted in the pavement, just as my thoughts tangled in the swirling winds of conflict. What would confronting my family bring? Could I bear the weight of their disappointment? I felt frozen, yet I was also acutely aware of the time passing. Each tick of the clock in my mind amplified the urgency. With a shuddering breath, I turned sharply and made my way to a nearby park. It was small but carried a faint memory of childhood joy, a patch of green amidst the concrete cityscape. I needed a moment to gather my thoughts, to breathe deeply and rethink my escape plan. As I settled onto a weathered bench, I pulled out my phone, curiosity overtaking anxiety. There were 3 missed messages, all from that unknown number. My heart raced as I opened the thread, each message further unraveling the knot in my stomach. Please respond, the first read. The next chimed in, we just want to know you're okay. The final one sent chills skittering over my skin, your absence is felt deeply. You matter to us. Each word struck like thunder, the void I had fought to distance myself from now flooded with echoes of love and longing. My eyes stung, guilt swirling within me. It felt like my family was crying out, seeking to bridge the gap I had widened. Just as I was about to reply, a gentle vibration, a fresh message from the mysterious sender lit up the screen. We're starting to worry more than we can bear. Are you really all right? I sat there, the weight of their longing crashing over me. Every ounce of hurt felt like it melted away for a moment as I realized they weren't giving up on me. The warmth of their care enveloped me, yet it didn't erase the shadows of our last encounter. The night I had stormed out still loomed large, my heart declaring a truce between my fear and my love for them. With slow courage, I began to type. Then my phone rang, startling me, jolting sensations of panic and hope. I stared at the screen, the name flashing, my older brother. I hesitated, fear strumming at my heartstrings. Did I want to face him? Would this conversation unravel the delicate web I'd woven around my thoughts? I took another deep breath and swiped to answer before my courage faded. Hello. His voice came through, a mixture of relief and apprehension. There you are. Where have you been? I struggled not to flinch at the tone that dripped concern. I just needed some time, I muttered, surprise tinging my voice. How did I start navigating this conversation? Time away. Or time to think? He pressed gently, you scared us. We don't want to push you, but we do want back what we lost. His words caught me off guard, my heart caught in a vice. The hurt of countless words left unspoken haunted me. I wanted to tell him everything, but the floodgates felt cracked, spilling emotions I had hidden within. Do you think it's too late for us? My voice trembled at the edge of vulnerability. There was a long pause on the other end, silence stretching thinly before him. It can't be, can it? It's never too late if we're willing to try. His words enveloped me in an unexpected warmth. I felt a spark of something igniting, a realization that maybe, just maybe, our family could begin to heal together. But then, in the same moment, a thought echoed distressingly: what if I had already shattered the fragile connection beyond repair? The confrontation that lay ahead loomed, an unyielding mountain in my consciousness. Can we meet? I managed to ask, each word tentative. Of course. Just come home when you're ready, he responded, a hint of hope mingling with apprehension in his voice. As I hung up, my heart ached with uncertainty, cradling both hope and disbelief. I felt lighter, though the shadows still loitered at the edges of my mind. Could I mend this rift? Could they forgive me? Suddenly, just as hope began to kindle a warmth in my chest, a figure approached. A glimpse of recognition made my breath catch. It was the young artist from the cafe, her brows furrowed with concern. I thought I'd find you here, she said softly, her eyes searching mine. You seem to be in a crisis. A response can sometimes lead to resolution. Did you hear from them? Her presence brought a wave of comfort, yet before I could respond, my phone buzzed yet again. I glanced down as my heart plummeted. A new message appeared, this time from my mother. I've been trying to reach you. There is something we need to discuss, it's urgent. The weight of my decision loomed yet again, crushing beneath layers of dread and uncertainty. The artist beside me observed intently, reminding me of the choice that lay ahead, whether to face my family with a heart stripped bare or to remain lost in the shadows of misunderstanding. I had separated myself, but maybe, just maybe, now was the time to reclaim my space alongside them. Overwhelmed but determined, I lifted my gaze, ready to step back toward my family, and into the chaos that would attempt to mend the broken strands of our bond. The world around me felt muted as I absorbed my mother's message. The urgency in her words ignited a flicker of fear that intertwined with the lingering warmth from my conversation with my brother. I glanced at the artist, her expression a mixture of concern and empathy, and in that moment, her silent support steadied me. "Are you okay?" she asked softly, breaking the tension that enveloped us both. I swallowed hard, words catching in my throat. "I don't know," I admitted, my voice a whisper. "I'm torn between going home and wanting to stay far away." She nodded as if she understood the weight of my internal battle. "Facing them can be daunting, but maybe it's a step towards healing. You wouldn't be going back to the same place you left. You're different now, and so are they." Her insights wrapped around me, offering solace in the tumult. Maybe she was right. I had changed, had grown in the time I spent away from them, and it was possible they had too. I couldn't stay adrift forever. At some point, I'd have to put the pieces together. "I didn't plan to come back," I murmured, eyes dropping to the ground where fallen leaves crunched beneath the weight of my thoughts. The cold air stirred around us, almost as if coaxing me toward the inevitable. "But they're counting on me, and I can't keep them in suspense forever." "Then why not go home, talk it out? That's what families do, right? They fight, they fall apart, but they also pick up the pieces together." Her voice was both a challenge and comfort, urging me to confront my fears as I admired the courage it took for her to reach out to me in the first place. I glanced up into her kind yet unwavering eyes. They held a promise of understanding, and in them, I found a fragment of my own fragile courage. Taking a deep breath, I stood up from the bench, dusting off my jeans. "I need to go." "Thank you for everything," I said, feeling an odd sense of connection with her, this stranger who had intuitively grasped my storm. She smiled, a soft, genuine expression that felt like a guidepost amidst my confusion. "You're welcome. And remember, sometimes the hardest steps lead to the most beautiful destinations." As I turned to leave, my phone buzzed again with an incoming call. The caller ID flashed with the name I hadn't anticipated: my father. The vulnerability of the moment weighed heavy on my chest. This was the person who had wielded both love and disappointment like a double-edged sword. "Please, let it be good news," I murmured to myself before hesitantly answering. "Hello." His voice resonated with warmth, yet it carried an underlying tension that mirrored my own. "Dad," I responded, my heart racing. "I just got a message from Mom." "What is going on?" "I'm glad to hear from you," he replied, relief evident in his tone. "We were all worried. There is something we need to discuss, something important." The weight of his words sent a shiver crawling over my skin. "Is it about me?" "Yes, but also about others, things that don't directly involve you, but should be addressed." The pause stretched, thick with unspoken intentions. "Can we meet at the house? I think it's best if we speak in person." "Is it really that serious?" "Let's just say there are some family matters we can no longer ignore," he replied, his tone grim. A knot of dread tangled in my stomach as I glanced at the distant skyline, the place I once called home now looming with shadows of uncertainty. "All right. I'll be there soon. But please, can you give me a hint? Is it bad?" He sighed, the sound burdened. "Just be prepared to listen and share." I nodded instinctively, as though he could see me. "Okay." As I hung up, a sense of inevitability washed over me. Whatever awaited me at home could either reinforce the fear I battled or manifest a path toward healing. The artist's earlier words replayed in my mind like a soothing balm: the hardest steps lead to the most beautiful destinations. Each step I took toward the house felt layered with significance, every footfall echoing past moments that hung between us like ghosts. I arrived at my childhood doorstep, feeling the familiar aches of nostalgia stirring, yet this time veiled with anxiety. The door swung open before I could knock, revealing Mom, her eyes red, cheeks wet with unshed tears. "Thank goodness you made it." Her voice was a whisper, imbued with a flood of emotions that made my heart ache anew. "It's okay, I'm here now," I responded softly, stepping inside, absorbing the sense of home that intertwined with memories. But as I glanced around, something lurked in the corner of my vision, a glimmer of something on the dining table. My heart thundered as curiosity surged forth. As I drew closer, dread coiled in my gut. An unopened letter, tied in a delicate ribbon, bore my name. I picked it up carefully, the weight of it inscribed with unspoken words. "What is this?" I asked, turning toward my parents, confusion breaking through an otherwise solemn atmosphere. Mom exchanged a loaded glance with Dad before speaking again, her voice trembling. "It's from someone who has been searching for you. Someone you may not expect." The revelation hit me like a tidal wave, and in that moment, a familiar chill gripped my heart. I wasn't just confronting my past with my family, I was about to unearth truths that might shatter everything I thought I knew. As I unfastened the ribbon, a sliver of hope mingled with the fear that clung stubbornly to my chest. What awaited me within would either be my salvation or the unraveling of everything I had tried to build. The letter felt heavy in my hands, laden with secrets and a future I was unprepared to face. My heart raced with each unfolding moment, as if it knew there was more at stake than my uneasy reunion with my parents. "Who is it from?" I asked, my voice wavering as I sought the comfort of clarity in the midst of anxiety. I searched their faces for any indication of what lay beyond the ribbon and the paper, but their expressions remained inscrutable, a canvas painted with love and worry. "I can't say," my father replied cautiously, his brow furrowed. "You need to read it. It belongs to you." I hesitated, my pulse quickening as I untied the ribbon. Would the contents destroy what was left of the bond one thought I could build anew, or would they offer a glimmer of hope? I slowly peeled open the envelope, my mind swirling with possibilities. The paper slipped into my hands, the words flowing across the page with an intimacy that gripped my heart. It was a handwritten note, neat, precise, but edged with an emotion I couldn't quite place. As I read, a chill shot down my spine. "Dear, your name, I've sought you long enough, and now I feel it's time for truths to surface. You may not know who I am, but I hold a part of your past that you've yet to uncover. Please, let us meet. There are connections you need to understand." The word sent a shudder through me. Connections? There were pieces of my life I had suspended, moments buried in the shadows of distance that I had convinced myself were better left alone. But this letter was a catalyst, a relentless pull back to the very heart of questions I had tried to quell. Who wrote it? My voice broke through the silence, vibrating with a mix of apprehension and a flicker of curiosity. "Someone you haven't seen in a long time. We didn't want to influence you, it was your choice when or if you wanted to learn about my mother's." Words faltered, her gaze dropping as if the weight of her decision haunted her. I need to know," I murmured, glancing between them. What more could there be to discover? Dad stepped forward, his expression softening. "We've all been dealing with our own ghosts. If there's one thing we can acknowledge now, it's that understanding can bring healing or at the very least, clarity." Just then, the front door swung open, interrupting our tense moment. The sharp rush of winter air cut through the warmth of the home, punctuating the shift in mood. My younger brother stepped inside, cheeks flushed and eyes bright with excitement. "You won't believe who I ran into," he said, brushing the snow from his hair. That I felt my pulse quicken again, torn between the relief of seeing him and the heavy weight of the letter still cradled in my grasp. Would he acknowledge something in me he hadn't before, or would he only add to the chaos that was beginning to swirl? "Hey, what is going on?" he asked, taking in our solemn expressions. My heart flipped at the sight of his innocent curiosity juxtaposed with an impending storm within our family. "Just some family matters we need to discuss," Mom said, her voice quavering slightly as she locked eyes with me, her unspoken apologies spilling from her gaze. The joy in my brother's expression faded as he pieced together the tension. "What letter? Who is it from?" I was at a crossroads. Do I shield him from this heartache, protect my family like I always had, or do I let him in, knowing that ignorance would only tighten the shroud of misunderstanding? "I'm still trying to make sense of it," I replied, my resolve gradually growing as I spoke. "I just found out that someone wants to meet me, someone connected to our past." His brow furrowed, and I could see a bit of fear take residence in his eyes. "You mean a part of the family we don't know? Who?" I took a deep breath, grounding myself. This was the chaotic web of our lives, the inconsistencies and questions we had skirted around for too long. "I don't know yet. But I think whatever this is, it could change things. For all of us." My brother looked toward our parents, gauging their reactions, uncertainty marring his features. I couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope amidst the flurry of emotions swirling around us. Maybe this was what we needed, a confrontation with the unknown, a revelation that could shatter the barriers we had built. As I tried to gauge the moment, my mother stepped forward, and the sincerity in her voice cracked through the weight of tension. "Listen, despite the hurt, we are still a family. Whatever happens, we can face this together. We owe it to ourselves." At that moment, the slightest glimmer of hope illuminated my heart, sparking a sense of belonging I had yearned for. Together, we could hold our ground against whatever demons arose, but before we could forge a plan, the phone rang again. This time, it was a text. A name I hadn't expected glared back at me from the screen. "Meet me tomorrow. I need to explain everything. Jay." My breath caught in my throat. The connection I had sought but never fully grasped was now demanding my attention. A meeting loomed on the horizon, fraught with uncertainty, a chance that might bring revelation or unravel everything. As we stood there, locked in a moment of decision, the weight of the world settled heavy on my shoulders. Would I dare to reach out, to confront the past, or would I falter in the face of an uncertain future? With a deep resolve, I knew this was just the beginning, a path strewn with pieces of me yet uncovered, waiting to be embraced or exiled. The morning light spilled through the curtains, casting a soft glow on the remnants of yesterday's turmoil. I tossed and turned in bed, unable to escape the ghost of the letter and the enigmatic message that had flooded my heart with a mix of fear and anticipation. Why had I let the past linger so long without seeking answers? With a heavy sigh, I pushed the blankets aside and swung my legs over the edge of the bed. The cold floor sent a shiver through me, mirroring the unsettling intuition that had settled in my chest. Today was the day, a day that could not only unravel unspoken truths but could also sever the fragile thread connecting my family's history to the present. I had to remind myself that whatever lay ahead, it was me who would determine my choices. Shoving my phone into my pocket, I walked slowly down the staircase, every step echoing the uncertainties that had plagued my family for years. My brother was already at the kitchen table, munching on cereal, his brow furrowed in concentration as he combed through a comic book. I hesitated before joining him, the weight of my secret felt heavy in the air between us. "Hey," he said, looking up briefly. I could read the concern hanging in his eyes, the silent question of whether today would really change everything. "Hey," I replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. Dinner might have brought us a moment of unity, but the truth was a formidable force that could shatter our tentative bond. That I poured myself a bowl of cereal, the clinking of the spoon against the bowl sounding louder than it should. I could sense my brother's gaze linger on me, and it took all my strength not to turn and break the silence. "So do you think you'll go?" he finally asked, his voice a mix of curiosity and fear. That I swallowed hard, rummaging through my thoughts for a thoughtful answer. "I think I have to. It's worth finding out, you know." He nodded, his expression serious. "What if it's bad news? What if it just brings up more questions? Then I'll handle it. Just like we always have. The assurance in my voice was more for me than him, but there it was a promise I had to keep. Later, as I walked home from work, the winter chill clung to me like doubt. Each step felt monumental, each breath a struggle against the tide of trepidation swelling inside. Memories of laughter with my family bubbled up as the shadows of secrets loomed larger, filling my mind with the weight of what had been left unsaid. When I reached the park, memories of younger days came rushing in, time spent with my family beneath the sheltering oak trees, days soaked in innocence. But those days felt distant, like a cherished book whose pages had been torn and scattered to the winds. I paused at a bench, staring into the expanse of the park where I had once felt light and carefree. A soft breeze swept across the ground, sweeping fallen leaves around my feet, and suddenly, I was jolted from my reverie by the warmth of a presence beside me. An elderly woman sat down, her face wrinkled with wisdom and kindness, her gentle smile infusing unexpected calm into my turmoil. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" she remarked, her eyes sparkling with a softness that drew me in. That I nodded, feeling inexplicably open to this stranger. "It is, though it feels heavier than it should." "Ah," she replied, her voice steady and soothing. "Sometimes, the heaviness is a sign of changing winds." I let her words sink in, drawing on the strength of her spirit. "I have a meeting today that could change everything," I confessed, the words blurring the boundary of vulnerability. "Change can be daunting, but it can also bring clarity, dear." She placed a comforting hand on mine, her touch grounding me. "Do not shy away from the unknown, it often leads to growth." The kindness wrapped around my heart like a warm embrace, and for a moment, I felt liberated from the weight of dread pressing down on me. Her gentle nudges gave me the resolve I silently craved. A sudden ping from my pocket interrupted our moment. Another message. I glanced down, heart racing. "Where are you?" "I can't wait. This is urgent." The urgency in the text shot through me like an electric jolt. I quickly glanced around, half expecting to see my mysterious messenger approach. But the park remained still, the world around me blurring into a haze as I grappled with what had just been thrust upon me. Turning towards the elderly woman, I felt a surge of gratitude welling up in me. "Thank you for your words." She merely smiled, as if she could sense the tumult within me. "Remember, dear, sometimes facing what lies ahead is the bravest thing we can do." I stood up, resolve hardening within. There was no turning back now, no burying my head in the sand. I had decided to unearth my past, and with it, perhaps strengthen the bonds of my present. Just as I turned to leave, the woman smiled again, her eyes shimmering. "Whatever you find, just know you're stronger than you think." With a nod of appreciation, I walked away, feeling a blend of dread and burgeoning hope. Each step carried me towards the meeting and perhaps towards the ultimate confrontation with my identity. As I approached the designated meeting spot, a cool breeze swept across my face, the sun beginning to dip in the sky, casting long shadows that danced ominously. I scanned the area, heart racing as the final moments before the inevitable encounter thickened with tension. But there, standing beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient tree, was a figure cloaked in hints of familiarity yet masked in uncertainty. As I stepped forward, my heart thudded loudly, but the look in J's eyes sent a shockwave through me that I hadn't anticipated. There, hidden in the warmth of his gaze, was a revelation waiting to be uncovered. But as soon as I opened my mouth to speak, another message pinged on my phone. This one sent chills through my entire being. "They know you're looking. It's not safe." I froze, the echo of those words reverberating in my mind, as dread washed over me. Could my quest for knowledge truly jeopardize not just me, but everyone I loved? The stakes were higher than I had ever anticipated, and now, with the looming specter of danger, I faced an even grimmer reality. A sense of resolve hardened within me, mingling with an undercurrent of fear. Today, I would not only confront but my past and everything entangled within it, for better or worse. And at that moment, as the shadows of future uncertainties crept closer, I realized I was standing not just on the edge of revelation but on the precipice of deeper chaos. Would I be brave enough to leap? As I stood frozen, the weight of the ominous warning pulsed in my veins, an urgent call to reconsider everything I thought I knew. J's eyes, filled with warmth and confusion, felt like both an anchor and a tempest. I could not turn back, not now, not after all the mental preparation that had led me to this edge. And yet, the gravity of that message turned the once clear route into a choked pathway littered with peril. Is everything okay? J's voice broke through my fog, laced with concern. My heart ached at how easily he slipped into the role of protector, despite the fog of mystery hanging over us like dark clouds threatening rain. With iron certainty, I stepped closer. We need to talk, but I hesitated, snatching my phone from my pocket and glancing down at the screen again. The words scrawled before me set off alarms in my head. Jay, I got a message just now that said that they know I'm looking. His face paled slightly, his demeanor shifting from warmth to urgency. Who knows? What did they mean? A frantic pulse surged in my chest. I don't know. I'm scared. The admission felt like a brittle edge in my chest, sharp and vulnerable. Jay stepped closer and took my hands in his grip firm yet kind, grounding me amid the chaos that raged in my mind. Let us find somewhere safe to talk. We can't stay out in the open. Before I could respond, he was already leading me away from the park's bustling heart into a quieter alleyway. The hum of the city faded into the background, swallowed by the shadows that grew longer with the dying light. As we crouched behind an unassuming corner cafe, the heavy burden of feelings weighed down my resolve. I could feel him studying my face, searching for a flicker of the unfaltering spirit I had tried to portray. Tell me everything, he urged softly, concern etched into his brow. His sincerity soothed me, yet I grappled with the tempest surging within. I need answers. Not just about us, but about my family. There is something dark hiding in our past, hiding away that letter I found, and now I halted, breathless with panic. If someone knows I'm looking, does that mean they're dangerous? J's eyes darkened with understanding, his unwavering resolve now interlaced with trepidation. We can find out together. You're not alone in this, no matter how heavy the truth may be. His words warmed me amidst the icy grip of fear. But a second thought twined around hope: what kind of answers awaited us? Would they sow understanding or tear open wounds beyond healing? I want my family to be whole again. I want to mend the misunderstandings that have plagued us for so long, I whispered, trying to steady my shaking voice. Some things need to break before they can be fixed, he replied. But letting them break can feel like a death, and that's terrifying. He was right, the realization sunk in a fear of erasing the fragile remnant of connection with my family weighed heavily upon me. Drawing from my determination, I gripped his hands tighter, willing strength into the space between us. In this moment, he embodied both solace and uncertainty. A sudden sound shivered through the air. A door slamming in the distance jerked me from my thoughts. J's grip on my hands tightened further, eyes scanning the street out of a primal instinct. We need to keep moving, he insisted, urgency radiating from him. As we slipped away from the shadows, the dialogue with my past wedged silently between my heartbeats. Each step echoed deeper dilemmas. Was the pursuit of truth worth risking everything, including our safety? We stepped into the glow of streetlights, the world shifting suddenly. In the distance, a group of people gathered, a family, animated and carefree, exemplifying the bonds I longed to heal. Emotion gripped my chest like a vice. Would I ever have that back? Would they welcome me if they knew the secrets I carried? As I turned to Jay, brimming with unvoiced hopes, another vibration interrupted our moment. A third message, its notification blaring through the night. I hesitated to read it, dread coiling in my stomach like a predator poised to strike. Let me see it, Jay leaned in, his voice a tight whisper. Time stretched as I opened the message, revealing a name that sent ice coursing through me. Meet me at midnight. If you care about your family, you'll come. Panic roared through me, crashing like a tide against the reassurance Jay offered. Who was M? Was this a friend or a foe? And what did they know about my family that could threaten the very fabric of my world? J's expression shifted from concern to steely determination. We have to be careful. We can't just rush into something we don't understand. They're threatening my family, I countered, the truth slicing through me, igniting a fire within. I can't let them get hurt because of my decisions. A chilling silence followed, wrapped tightly in the uncertainty of everything we faced. As the clock slipped towards midnight, the threat hovered like a swirling mist on the horizon, tempting fate into our reluctant grasp. In that moment, as shadows loomed larger and the gravity of tomorrow settled deep into my heart, I realized that the revelations I had unwittingly sought now teetered on the edge of a knife, balanced between painful truths and protective lies. Would I have the strength to confront whatever awaited me, or would I disappear into the very darkness I had steadied to unravel? As the city continued its frenetic pulse, the seconds felt like an eternity stretching before us. The echoing hum of laughter from families far removed from our chaos became a haunting refrain, underscoring the distance between my crumbling world and theirs. The message burned a hole in my mind: meet me at midnight. If you care about your family, you'll come. Who was this person willing to draw me into their sinister web? The idea coiled around my thoughts like smoke lingering in the air. Jay, I can't just leave my family in danger, I spluttered, my voice laced with desperation. The unseen threats loomed large, threatening to suffocate the flickers of hope I'd managed to cling to. Then we do this together, Jay said firmly, brows knitted with determination. I won't let you walk into something dangerous alone. Whoever M is, we need to be smart about it. He was right, yet a seed of doubt had planted itself in my mind. What if his presence only heightened the risk? But what if they want to hurt you too? I can't let that happen, I insisted, feeling a surge of protectiveness crash over me. With a soft sigh, Jay brushed a stray hair behind my ear. I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out. His touch sent a wave of warmth through me, a reminder that, even amidst chaos, we were each other's anchors. Still, as the minutes slipped by, worry splintered through my resolve. Memories of my childhood home flashed before me, a kaleidoscope of laughter interspersed with arguments, voices raised and pained expressions swirling around family gatherings like a tempest. I thought of my mother's gentle hands, once softening every wound, now calloused by years of unacknowledged misunderstandings. Would she blame me? What if they won't forgive me? The words escaped my lips before I could stop them, revealing my deepest fears. Would all roads lead me back to isolation? J's gaze softened. I think they will be more open than you expect. People can surprise you when they feel the truth coming from the heart. You just need to give them a chance. I want to believe that, I replied, looking down at my trembling hands. I took a deep breath to steady myself. But this message I trailed off, feeling uncertainty close around my throat. Let us go somewhere safe, find a place where we can lay low before the meeting. We need to strategize. Jay surveyed the area, his protective instincts kicking in as he scanned our surroundings. Swallowing my emotions, I nodded. Together, we slipped into the shadows of an alleyway and found a small cafe that still had its lights on, an island of warmth amid the encroaching night. The tiny establishment held a comforting scent of coffee and baked goods that temporarily dulled our tensions. Huddled in a corner booth, we shared hot chocolate that slowly melted the ice in my veins. Little moments of laughter escaped us. Jay recounted a time he accidentally poured salt instead of sugar into his coffee during an exam study session. Instead of the impending threat, I chuckled, the sound feeling foreign yet refreshing. His ability to draw smiles from the depths of my anxiety was nothing short of a lifeline. As the tension melted, I leaned closer, brushing against his warmth. You know, if I had met you under different circumstances, I know, he interrupted with a soft smile, the slight laugh lines around his eyes deepening. I've thought of that too. But we can't erase this reality. We need to face it head on. The soft clinks of cups and quiet murmurs of patrons blurred around us, and for a fleeting moment, it felt like life could continue without fear. But as the clock chimed quietly under the cafe's twinkling lights, a sense of urgency cloaked the room. We have to go soon, I whispered, looking at my phone, anxiety pooling once again in my stomach. I could feel the countdown pressing mercilessly. Just as I stood with a practiced resolve, the door swung open to reveal a figure I hadn't anticipated. A woman stepped inside, a figure from my past wrapped in a familiar confusion. It was Mia, a childhood friend whose life had merged with mine in fleeting moments of carefree joy. But in the undercurrents of our lives, a divide had formed, a silence built on the unspoken secrets of our families. Mia. I breathed, the word tumbling out as the cafe's warmth turned icy. What was she doing here? Her eyes widened in shock, but something deeper flickered beneath the surprise. I can't believe it's really you. I tried to reach out, her voice trailed off, fragmented. How do you know about all this? I pressed, the room suddenly feeling too small, walls teeming with unvoiced burdens. I saw the message, she admitted, shifting on her feet. I needed to warn you. You're not safe. M is not who you think. The urgency in her voice struck a chord of fear, and suddenly, hopes of mending the past began to crumble under the pressure of new dangers. Each second pulsed heavy with the weight of her revelation, and I was left grappling with the reality that every decision might further fracture the flimsy bonds I wished to repair. Time continued to slip away, and the truth remained a solid wall between us, barring entry to the peace I desperately sought. What awaited me in that midnight meeting would either be a confrontation of my fears or a plunge into a deeper darkness. As the clock struck ominously, I realized I stood on the brink of whatever revelation awaited me, and for the first time, I felt the earth beneath me tremble with uncertainty. The cafe rapidly grew quiet around us, Mia's presence slicing through the momentary comfort we had cultivated. J's hand tightened around mine, the warmth now feeling more like a tether than an anchor. You know more than you're saying, he urged, his voice firm but laced with genuine concern. Mia glanced around the cafe, as if the very walls had ears, and leaned in closer. I received a warning too, just last week. They wanted to send a message, make sure I understood the stakes. A shiver went down my spine at her words. The world outside didn't just feel like chaos anymore, it was a predator stalking us, and we were all prey in this nightmare. What do you mean? I stammered, trying to process the information. Each word from her felt like a heavy weight layered on top of my anxiety. There are people involved who'll do anything to protect their interests, and you're caught in the web of it. I might be able to help you, but it will come at a price. Help us? Jay echoed, skepticism creeping into his tone. What kind of help can you possibly provide without putting yourself at risk? Mia's features tightened. I'd never let any harm come to you. But you need to trust me. They're not just after you, they've got their sights set on your family. My heart nearly stopped. My family? But why? They're not involved in this. The sharp edges of despair clawed at my heart, threatening to overwhelm me. They believe you're a liability. A loose end to tie up, she explained, her gaze softening for just a moment before hardening again. You have to be careful. Tonight's meeting is more than just a rendezvous, it's their chance to finalize things. Panic flooded my veins. What am I supposed to do? Wait until they come for me? Or for them? I felt every thread of my resolve unraveling. Jay pressed his forehead against mine, shielding me from the torrent of fear that surged through me. Mia, if you know anything we need to hear it. Taking a deep breath, she seemed to weigh her options. You need to meet with them, but not alone. You can't let them think they can intimidate you. Show them you're not afraid. Fear, however, had woven itself into the very fabric of my being. How could I exhibit strength when my heart felt so utterly broken? And if they push me too far? If they hurt my family? I murmured, glancing at Jay, whose expression mirrored my anxiety. Then we fight back, Mia replied, strength glistening in her eyes like a beacon cutting darkness. But you have to trust me, trust that I can get you out of there if things go south. I closed my eyes, despair mingling with a flicker of hope. Do you promise? I won't let anything happen to you, she said, steeling herself with a note of conviction that didn't quite silence my doubts. A heavy silence enveloped our booth, stretching painfully as I thought over the stakes once again. What if trusting Mia only brought more pain? Yet, Jay was right beside me, his unwavering presence urging me to make a decision. We have to find a way to ensure everyone stays safe, even if that means confronting M, I said, a newfound determination rising within me. I won't let fear rule my life any longer. I'm proud of you, Jay whispered, and the warmth of his words soothed some of the jagged edges of my distress. But just as we began absorbing the strength from each other, the clinking of the cafe door jolted us back into reality. A familiar face entered my mother, glancing around in confusion, her eyes landing on Mia first, then shifting to me. A whirlwind of emotions flickered across her features: surprise, concern, then fear. Mia. My mother called, surprise igniting her voice, before her gaze landed squarely on me. What is going on? Mom, it's not what it looks like, I began, but she took a step back, shaking her head as if to deny the confrontation. I told you to stay away from here. She snapped, her eyes glistening with suppressed tears. You know this is dangerous. Then why did you come? I shot back, my voice trembling with desperation. I need you to understand. Understand what? Her voice rose, echoing around us. Patrons turned their heads, dissecting our unraveling moment with curiosity. That you're walking into a trap? That you're risking everything for nothing? At that moment, everything crashed down. The shelter I had hoped for from my family seemed to shatter right before my eyes. Each word felt like a stab, and in the depths of her frustration, the truth surfaced, a truth laden with fears of her own, fears I hadn't acknowledged. I'm not afraid of them, Mom. I willed my voice to steady, taking a step toward her. But I am afraid of losing you, of losing all of you. Jay squeezed my hand tighter as emotions surged like a consuming wave. I could feel the tension tightening around us, tightening like a vice, clouds of unresolved anger brewing, unspoken resentments that threatened to spill. Suddenly, Mia turned her focus toward my mother. We need to work together. If you care about her, you'll listen. There's a lot more at stake than you realize. I felt my heart skip. Here lay the potential for connection, for healing, but would my mother truly hear this stranger offering salvation? Just then, a vibration broke through the atmosphere as my phone buzzed ominously on the table. I glanced down to see a new message lighting up the screen. If you're not here by midnight, we'll make sure your family regrets it. The world collapsed around me, the specter of dread lurking in every shadow. My mother's phone buzzed as well, her eyes widening in terror as she read an identical message. No, she whispered, fear coloring her voice as we stood precariously on the precipice between chaos and the promise of hope. What had I just thrown us into? Each passing second felt like an eternity as I stood in the cafe, the weight of the world pressing down on my shoulders. The message loomed over me like a dark cloud, a reminder that the stakes were higher than I had ever imagined. My mother's eyes, wide with fear, mirrored the frantic beating of my heart. We have to get out of here, she whispered, urgency etched into her features as she glanced around, sensing the danger lurking just beyond the walls, but fear tethered me to the spot, choking my resolve. Mom, I didn't want this. I thought finding out the truth meant I could protect us, protect you. My voice trembled, the raw emotions spilling over like ink staining a once blank page. Sometimes knowing the truth does more harm than good, she replied, her voice trembling with unshed tears. We've been drowning in secrets for too long, and this is dangerous territory. Then we face it together, I insisted, drawing strength from the warmth of Jay's hand on mine. That's what we have to do. If we hide, we lose everything. I could see the battle waging in my mother's heart, the vulnerability clashing with her instinct to shield us from harm. Mia, please, I pleaded, turning toward my childhood friend, searching for support. You said you'd help. Isn't there a way you can protect us? Mia's gaze darted between my mother and me, hesitation flickering over her face. I can help you prepare, but it'll take all of us working together. We need a plan. If they see you're scared, she trailed off, eyes taking on a harder edge, a determination glimmering beneath the surface. My heart sank. She was right. The invitation to meet with wasn't just a call for confrontation, it reeked of impending peril. But I wanted to forge ahead, to reclaim not just the bond with my family but my own sense of agency. Okay, I said, swallowing down fear, let us figure this out. We'll confront whatever's coming together. Then a hesitant voice broke the air, my younger brother stepping into the fray, confusion painting his features. What's happening? Why are you all so tense? The moment froze as I met my brother's wide-eyed gaze. I wanted to reassure him, to tell him everything would be fine, but the shadows swept around us, threatening to swallow any remnants of calm. I opened my mouth to speak, but it was my mother who stepped forward, vulnerability cracking her stoicism. We're going to face something difficult, together. It might take all of us. The strength in her voice instilled hope in the thick air. Will you trust us? Will you be ready? His brows knit together, concern lining his features. Just tell me what I need to do. We're going to meet with someone who knows far more than we do, Mia interjected, taking control. But we can't go in blind. Gather anything that feels important, anything you want to keep with you. Moments later, we filed out of the cafe, the air redolent with urgency. Jay stayed close, the steady thrum of his presence reassuring me that I wasn't alone, while my brother took careful glances behind us. Darkness settled over the street, but in that moment, something began to shift that I caught my mother's eye, and just like before, I saw the pain in her gaze, but this time it was mingled with determination. We were about to confront the lies and misunderstandings that had plagued us, we'd face it together. We were straddling the fragile line between fear and hope, a precarious balance that felt more tenuous than it had ever felt before. Together, we approached my family home, the echoes of laughter and familial disputes lingering like ghosts in the night. As we stood at the door, I felt a shiver run through me. It symbolized everything I had run away from, everything that had hurt me, and everything I still loved. With resolve, I twisted the doorknob and stepped inside, the familiar scent wrapping around me. But the air felt different tonight, heavy with anticipation and muted acknowledgement. We were not just returning home, we were reclaiming it. Out of the stillness, a voice emerged, a low murmur filled with trepidation. You came. Standing in the living room was Dad, his figure a sentinel against the gathering storm. We need to talk. About what? I challenged, stepping forward. For the first time, I felt the surge of conflict transform into determination. About us, about everything we didn't say before. About the past, he added, a weariness lining his voice as he crossed his arms, his barrier raised and my heart turned over in my chest. Then let us talk. Let us face the truths that have haunted us. Mia stepped forward, the courage radiating from her, binding us together in mutual resolve. None of us have to do this alone, and neither does your family. The heaviness hung in the air like the impending weight of a storm, an opportunity to uncover buried truths. We gathered in a circle, my hand intertwined with J.S., Mia, and my siblings standing side by side, an unbreakable bond forming just beneath the surface. All right, I said, drawing from every ounce of strength I had. I know there are things we haven't said. Moments we've kept from one another. It's time we explored those, so we can move forward. This isn't just about you, though, Jay interjected, his tone earnest. It involves decisions that will change the path of your family. We must confront the risk, acknowledge fears, and weigh the stakes together. It is vital. My heart raced as I gazed around the room. No more silence, no more avoidance. We had all suffered under the weight of unvoiced truths and the fear of confrontation. Silence hung momentarily, but then one voice broke through, my mother, fragility underlined with strength. We've all carried burdens, but perhaps it's time we acknowledged the weight we can share. It felt like a foundation had been freshly laid, the energy shifted as walls began to crumble, unspoken fears merging with the courage flickering in our hearts. Tonight we'll acknowledge the past, I said, swallowing hard as the gravity of what lay ahead settled over each of us. And we'll begin the journey to take it back. In that pivotal moment, my family's fragility transformed into an untapped reservoir of strength, ready to face whatever awaited outside. But there was something more looming on the horizon, a tension I couldn't shake. A chilling reminder that danger still lingered, our names seldom far from whispered doubts. The clock ticked resolutely toward midnight, an urgent push toward the meeting, an uncharted territory teetering between hope and despair. Would we hold together as a family amidst the chaos swirling around us in the night? Or would the darkness tear us apart yet again? With that thought heavy in my mind, I braced myself. We'd encounter whatever lay ahead, armed with the shared resilience I had wished for all along. As I took a step forward, a rush of collective breath echoed through the room, a fragile promise laden with uncharted possibilities. I believe we can do this, I said softly, a realization settling within me. We might emerge changed, but we'll emerge whole together. With a final look around, I realized that though the night was fraught with shadows, it would also hold a light, the love with which we stepped forward confidently, the love that had always kept us tethered when we needed it most. And with that glimmer in sight, together we stepped into the depths of the unknown, ready to reclaim every piece that had been fractured, determined to find a way back home.